Welcome to All Steelers Talk, your home for everything Pittsburgh Steelers, presented by allsteelers.com.
What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Strackbein, joined every Monday and Wednesday by my main man, Steven Thompson. Find us on youtube.com/allsteelerstalk and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. And today, well, there's a little drama circulating around the internet. JuJu Smith-Schuster just couldn't help himself, and because of it, he's getting absolutely roasted. We got to talk about it. Plus, a running back headed to Pittsburgh and possibly another veteran cornerback that has been suggested. Actually, two of them have been suggested to head to Pittsburgh this offseason. But first, it's a beautiful day outside. It's been a beautiful back-to-back days. Pitt basketball is having the run of its life, and I know you were watching them last night. How you feeling, my friend?
A little tired. That those 9 o'clock starts for Pitt basketball are a little rough, but no, I'm feeling good. I'm excited to maybe get outside a little bit today. Feel good. Open my windows a little bit, breathe some fresh air.
Yep,
It's
nice. We talked about this the other day. I think about how spring doesn't or winter doesn't even start until March, but it feels like spring. My fiance keeps bringing up. She's like, we're like 3 weeks away from spring. I'm like, we're not anywhere close. But these little teasers are beautiful. Like you live in February.
This is how they drag you in. They make you think that spring is coming, and then they just pile a bunch of another.
You put your real heavy jacket away, and then boom, they smack you with like 6 feet of snow. It's coming, Pittsburgh. Be cautious. But it's good. When it comes to the 9 o'clock tip-offs, I did. Last night I was sitting around, I was watching a movie. And I on my phone, I was keeping up with the Penguins game, and on my laptop, I was keeping up with the Pitt game. And I was just like, man, I feel awful that the Steelers are not doing anything right now, and I don't have anything to go do to contribute to our work ethics. But part of the gig, I guess.
I mean, there's plenty of times where I think the Steelers were doing stuff at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah. For 6 months of the year, we don't sleep, so you just got to tell yourself that sometimes. Yeah. Anyways, let's talk JuJu Smith-Schuster. I mean, we'll just start with what happened. JuJu, as everybody knows, it was held at the end of the Super Bowl. We talked about that on Monday. I didn't really think it was a good call. It was kind of soft. James Bradberry admitted it. JuJu admitted it. Everybody was like, yeah, it happened. It is what it is. We'll move on. It's not the reason that the Chiefs lost or won the Super Bowl. Then JuJu decided to drop a meme about James Bradberry, referring to him on Valentine's Day, I guess. Look, at first I got to say it was a great meme, but wasn't very appreciated in the Philadelphia community. He dropped "I'll hold you when it matters the most," which is again just a great, it's a good troll. It's a good troll. Maybe a little bit early, 2 days after a heartbreaking loss. I don't know if I'm about that life, but it has gotten some traction. First off, A.J. Brown jumped on here and said, first off, congratulations. You all deserve this. This is lame. You was on the way out of the league before Patrick Mahomes resurrected your career on your 1-year deal, TikTok boy. He admitted that he grabbed you, but don't act like you're like that or ever was. But congratulations again. They did not stop. I saw Darius Slay go after him. C.J. Gardner Johnson obviously keeps going. He went twice, I believe. And JuJu's coming back at it. He has not stopped. The drama has not stopped. As you could see the little fight there, it seems that's where we're going. If we're the Pittsburgh Steelers. What do you make of this? What were your thoughts when you saw this? I won't lie. I'm usually a JuJu social media defender. This time around, I don't know how I'm feeling about this.
Yeah, I mean, so it was funny. It's a good meme. If some random dude on Twitter made it, it would have gotten it. I thought it would have been really funny. The fact that it came from JuJu, I kind of have to agree with A.J. Brown. It does seem a little lame. You just won the Super Bowl, and this is what you're choosing to do with that. The parade is today, and instead of getting ready, celebrating, getting ready for the parade, you're taking more shots at a guy who feels awful. I genuinely don't. I don't know if they were. I assume they were talking all game, but I just don't. This is not what I guess I would probably be doing with my time if I just won the Super Bowl.
No.
But yeah, I mean, this is just kind of JuJu, isn't it? Like, is this, you might know him a little bit better, but this just feels like, he's closer to being he's a Gen Zer. This is how he like talks trash and stuff instead of, maybe doing it on the field or doing it, to his friends or through other people. He has this tool. He has social media to continue to talk trash, and people have the ability to talk trash right back. I think the most interesting thing is these two teams play each other next year. I'm pretty sure.
Do they?
Yeah.
I don't know if Bradbury will be there, but AJ Brown will be there.
Right.
CJ Gardner will be there.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. It's a whole team kind of. This wasn't contained to just JuJu and James Bradbury. I don't even know if James Bradbury is still like involved with this. It's other guys standing up for him or taking issue with JuJu.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, James Bradbury is going to be a free agent, so he's not going to be here next year, most likely. And I like to take that shot, just like you said. Like I don't know. Like, that's always kind of been JuJu. JuJu's, no hold bars. He doesn't care. He knows how big of an influence he is on social media. When it came to the TikTok dancing, it's almost as if, and I don't want to say this because I defended him so hard for the TikToks about just like, dude, let him do his thing. It is what it is. If he wants to piss people off, he could piss people off. He's a grown man. He's allowed to make these decisions. But with the TikTok things, he, like, when he was dancing on the field and teams were calling him out, and he was consistently blaming the media for it. Like, he was always, even whether you talk to him in an interview, talk to him in person, whether he was on TikTok, whatever, he was constantly saying that the media is creating a narrative that people in the NFL don't like it. When guys were legit calling him out on social media and during press conferences saying, like, you dance on our field, you're in a lot of trouble. Like, he was catching that. And then this time around, he does this, and then he's going to defend himself like consistently with these guys as if there was bad blood. I don't know. Maybe there was some real harsh trash talk going down on that field. But if there was not, this is a bad look for a guy who maybe is just like oblivious to any self-criticism. And I think he deserves to be criticized. This is JuJu. This is not on James Bradbury. This is not on AJ Brown attacking him or anybody else. JuJu took a low blow on a guy 24 hours or 48 hours after the game. Bad.
Right. And it's not like James Bradbury was going around talking about, oh, that was BS. No. I didn't hold him or anything like that. Like, I don't know. He took it in stride, and it's weird to see the guy who won not take it in stride,
Exactly.
And not
exactly. If there was trash talk afterwards, like if James Bradbury was like, that was BS and I'm not doing this and I didn't hold him. Okay. If JuJu wants to keep it going, keep it going. But the fact that the entire Eagles team sat there and took it in the most respectful manner. I've never seen a team lose with so much grace in my whole life.
Right.
Every one of them was just like, yeah, man, that wasn't the reason that we lost. Like, there was a bunch of reasons that we lost. It's not just because of that holding call and who cares? Yeah, I did it. Like, and then JuJu's just like, nah, man, I'm firing him back up. And if anything, I think it would, it eliminates in my mind the Chiefs from winning a Super Bowl next year if JuJu's on the team, because there's no way that that's just not how it slides. You know what I mean? You talk shit, you get hit. That's just what the world is. JuJu's gonna get hit. That's gonna happen. My other thing is, do you think, because we know who Andy Reid is, we know who the Kansas City Chiefs are. They're a very respectful organization. I feel. Like those guys, you don't hear a lot of drama coming out of them. Yeah, they talk their talk, but it's all afterwards. The Burrowhead comments, the Travis Kelce yelling in the mic, that's all afterwards. Do you think if you're Andy Reid, you're looking at this and going, maybe JuJu is no longer an option for us this offseason? Do you think it hurt his stock in free agency?
I don't think it helped, but I don't think it hurt him that much. I don't think this will influence whether they do or not bring him back, right? On the 1 year after his 1 year.
Yeah, he's only on 1 year. Yeah, he's a free agent.
Right. So I don't think that alone is going to, determine whether they bring him back or not. But it's certainly a bad look. It's certainly kind of diverges from what we've seen and what we kind of know about the Chiefs and just their patterns of behavior. Even when Travis Kelce is loud and maybe obnoxious sometimes, it's never like that, no one believed in us thing was kind of lame, I thought.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
But like,
everybody believed in you, the Chiefs,
right. But it wasn't like he wasn't going after anyone. And I agree with you. That's not their MO, and it is a little weird. But I don't think that's what's gonna. I don't know enough about what JuJu would kind of demand on the market to kind of say
nothing. I don't think JuJu. I think JuJu signed like a 1 year, $10 million deal this season.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt he gets 1 year, $10 million again. Like, I just don't think that's a possibility. You could eliminate the Philadelphia Eagles from anywhere that he signs, though. I do not think he's going there. I think it's kind of crazy. Like, it kind of feels like maybe JuJu has like really bad blood with some of these guys, especially with the AJ Brown comment about coming out and being like, well, I'm glad that you finally got all that off your chest. Like, do you think guys around the league like actually don't like JuJu Smith-Schuster? Like, they got a problem with him? He is like, he's definitely a controversial figure when it comes to his social media platform. But I thought that was just like with us and some people that called him out for dancing on their, logo.
Right. Which is the weirdest thing to me too. Like, I don't understand. Like, this is the first time where I saw JuJu do something, get some hate for it, and thought, okay, this makes sense.
Yes. Yes. Even the TikToks was just like, all right, that's like annoying. Do I think that he should be getting like, I don't think he means any disrespect by it. I thought that he was just, trying to build his social media followers or following, but maybe he did. Maybe JuJu's just, maybe JuJu's just that guy. Will Graves put out a tweet, and I don't want to misquote it, but I'm gonna. But it ended with like, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. And I was like, oh, and it was about JuJu. Like, it was quote tweeting JuJu's tweet, and maybe people know things that we don't know about this guy, and maybe JuJu's a dick. Maybe JuJu's just a big dick, and nobody likes him, and this is where we are. I don't know. If you're the Steelers, you're looking at that and saying, maybe we don't re-sign JuJu Smith-Schuster this offseason. If the Chiefs aren't going to think that way, do you think the Steelers maybe think that way?
Yeah, I could buy that more with the Steelers than with the Chiefs. It just seems like a headache that they don't need.
Yes.
I think they have plenty of receivers, and just, I don't know. It just seems like, again, the kind of headache you don't need. And I don't think it's worth kind of the effort to kind of, you wouldn't contain him, but just to kind of deal with that day in and day out. And I think how much Mike Tomlin hates having to answer questions that aren't really about football. I mean, he hates answering questions about football too, but
he does.
Answering questions about like what someone says on social media, which will inevitably come, if JuJu comes back to Pittsburgh, that's what's going to happen. I don't think he's interested in that at all.
No. You are just a little sidebar here before we move on to this next thing. You were not around during the blank check comment by Mike Tomlin. That was the epitome of Tomlin does not deal with nonsense in press conferences. It was when he was rumored to go be hired by USC. And the rumors were nonsense. Like, Mike Tomlin's not leaving the Pittsburgh Steelers for USC. He's just not. He's just not doing that. But you have to ask about it because those rumors are out there. And it was Chris Sims, I believe, that like he was pushing it. He was like, dude, it's on the verge of happening. So, you obviously wait till the end of the press conference. You set it up. You're like, all right, nobody else has questions. All right, let's ask it. And Tim Benz was like, hey, there's rumors about, you and USC. Is there any truth to that? Blah, blah, blah. And he looked him dead in the eyes. And I don't remember the exact words. I'll have to find the clip. But he finished it off. He was like, you couldn't hand me a blank check from a booster to go and leave the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I was just like, okay. Okay, relax. So yeah, he hates his. I just think if JuJu's coming out here, I don't know. There's a long talk about, hey man, you do that around here, you get smacked upside the head. Okay, right. Don't be messing with that. We are not good enough for this. I think that also maybe got to JuJu's head a little bit, is that he's never been on a team that good,
right?
And you get a little, superior complex going, and Next thing you know, you're sending out really, really awful tweets. It was great, dude. I was about to leave when that tweet left. Like I was getting ready. I had to do a couple of errands, and I was putting my shoes on, and I looked down, and I was just like, "Oh no, dude, what are you doing? Like, why? What are you doing right now?" So it's a good tweet. It's a good tweet. All right, let's talk more Pittsburgh Steelers football. NFL draft. We got back from the Senior Bowl like 2 weeks ago now, and day one, I believe he stopped practicing after day one. But day one, there was a pretty big name that caught your attention. You turned that attention to me, and I paid attention as well. Dude was lighting up the field. Roshan Johnson, the backup running back for the University of Texas. He's Bijan Robinson's backup, who will likely go in the first round, possibly in like the top 15 picks. No, you're not feeling that? You don't think that he deserves to be?
No running back should ever be drafted that high. That is not a...
Roshan's going, our Bijan's going top 15. Easy. The guy's been generational talent since he's like 13 years old. He's the next Saquon, the next Zeke. Maybe he'll have a good career. Maybe they won't. It's a meaningless pick. Oh, it's not going to be in Pittsburgh. Thank God. Bijan's going to go first round. Interesting enough, Roshan Johnson is actually predicted, as of recently, to end up in Pittsburgh. According to NFL.com's Chad Reuter, the Steelers, in his latest mock draft, select Johnson out of Texas with their third-round pick, 80th overall. Just to give a little bit of context here, they start off the draft with 17, Iowa defensive lineman Lucas Van Ness, which isn't a bad pick. Then they doubled down on defensive lineman with Baylor's Siaki Ika. Am I saying that name right?
I believe so.
And then they go their second pick in the second round with Anton Harrison, Oklahoma big man. He's a tackle. Derek actually mocked him to the Steelers during him and Nick's mock draft on Steelers Draft Talk. Not bad. Then you got Roshan Johnson there at the third round. Adds to a Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren, Anthony McFarland, running back room, Master Teague's in there as well. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I already know your answer, but is this a completely useless pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah. It's like, what are you going to do with maybe he's your third string running back, but like you're going to use a third round pick on a third string running back? I don't know. Yeah. They're like, I know Roshan, like, we liked Roshan. We liked watching him play.
Oh, yeah.
The Steelers don't need him. They don't need him for the role that they would put him in.
Nope.
And it's way too high valuable a pick to be using on a position that you just plainly do not need.
Yep. Yep. And it's not like they will need it. Like there could be an argument of, oh, well, Jaylen Warren. Now, Jaylen Warren's here for the next 2 years.
Right.
Like the Steelers have their backup running back. They're going to add a third. I don't know if this guy's ever watched a Pittsburgh Steelers game, but it's been a long time since a third string running back has stepped onto the field and played meaningful reps. It's been a long time before this season, before a backup running back stepped on a field and played meaningful reps in Pittsburgh. And you're going to tell me all of a sudden they're just going to be like, all right, Najee, you're going to just rush a third of the time, and we're going to utilize these other two guys. It's not a Pittsburgh Steelers thing. Right.
Like, yeah, Najee, you're one of the best players on the team. You're one of the most talented guys that we have in this offense, but we want to cut down your carries even more. Like,
yes.
Like, why? I don't understand what the logic. I'm trying to think of, like, there's sometimes where there's an argument and you can disagree with that argument. I don't even know what the argument is here.
No, there is none. Let me ask this though, because I've seen a lot of. I think there's two really nonsense narratives out there about the Pittsburgh Steelers mock drafts right now. The first one is this one. I don't think it gets bigger than this one, but I'm going to ask anyways. What is worse, drafting a running back in the third round or double dipping on wide receivers? Because that's the other one, is everybody has the Steelers drafting like Jordan Addison or, Zay Flowers or whatever with their first two picks, and then going back in like the fourth round and getting another guy to play wide receiver when they have 75 wide receivers and they don't know what they have in Calvin Austin yet. But let's just add two more to the mix. What's a worse move for the Steelers offense?
I just like that one more. I don't think they should touch a receiver, I don't know, until like the fifth or sixth, right? Like they don't need a receiver. I think that's Drafting multiple wide receivers is even worse. Like
Yes.
at most you're drafting one. You just like you said, you have too many guys that you don't like. I don't know.
There's
It's
everybody under contract. Right. Everyone. The Steelers don't. Miles Boykin and Steven Sims are the only two guys who are not under contract, and both of them are going to cost about 17 cents to bring back to Pittsburgh. Not a big deal. And if Boykin goes somewhere else, okay, then you go replace him. Good thing Calvin Austin is about to make his way back onto the field in 2023. It's a bad one. I don't know. At least with double dipping at wide receivers, like you could find a way to utilize them. Like, what are you ever going to do with Roshan Johnson? Ever? He's going to go from Texas, where his highest rushing total. I have his stats here. We're loading, but they're here. His highest rushing attempt was his freshman season with 123. After that, it was 96 rushes in a season. You're going to go from literally a small portion of Texas's backfield to an even smaller portion of an NFL backfield in Pittsburgh. And you're going to be okay with that. And on top of that, like, you're going to like, what is it? Do people not believe in Jaylen Warren? I don't know. That one's bad to me. Like, that might be the worst mock I've seen. And it starts strong, because I agree with double dipping at defensive linemen. I'm all about that life.
Yeah, I don't hate that, but like a 3rd round pick for someone who's barely even going to see the field is just not. That's just not smart use of your. Draft capital.
At that point, you're just like admitting defeat. You're just like looking at it and you're just like, all right, well, the Steelers. Let's look at the Steelers' past 3rd round draft picks in the past couple of years. It's like Kendrick Green was 2 years ago, or what? Yeah, it was 2 years ago. He's already done. Career is pretty much over. Who was last year's 3rd round draft pick? It went Kenny.
Was it Leal?
It was Leal.
Mm-hmm.
That's a promising one. Don't have a real spot for him, but definitely promising. In years past, I mean, you got guys like Cam Sutton who've come out of the 3rd round.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dan Moore is a 4th rounder. Kevin Dotson Alex Highsmith is a 3rd rounder. You got names.
There will be valuable guys there. Guys who will be more valuable to you than, again, your 3rd string running back.
Then your like 3rd string running back.
Best. Like that's the best case scenario. Is this guy is your 3rd string running back.
Yeah, like that's the craziest part about this. Is it's not like there is no ceiling. The ceiling is here. Like it's okay. Well, maybe you pass off Jaylen Warren. Okay, like cool. You got a backup running back in 3rd round that you already had and felt really confident in. But now you got a new one. So that's fun and exciting, because the last one was obviously getting old, entering the 2nd year of his NFL career and making, let's see, $874,000 this season. That's how much Jaylen Warren is set to make. He's expected to take up 0.4% of the Steelers' cap space. But let's add a 3rd round running back that's going to make $10 million for the next 4 years and take up way more money. That was bad. That might be the worst draft we've seen in a while. More very questionable moves for the Pittsburgh Steelers. not Jaylen Warren. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN.com, obviously one of the most respected names out there. He spent a long time in Pittsburgh, so he clearly knows what he's talking about when it comes to the Steelers, even if I don't agree with everything he says. Suggested that the Steelers re-sign Cam Sutton, which I think we could all agree is a good move for the Steelers and one that we're all pushing for. Then says they should go back and sign another veteran corner this offseason. And the 2 names he lists are James Bradberry and Marcus Peters. Bradberry, you can't sign him in JuJu, obviously, so you're going to have to pick one of them. When it comes to Marcus Peters, he's got bad blood in Pittsburgh, but I think that goes away. The second that you sign, Larry Ogunjobi kicked, Mason Rudolph in the head, and here he is. Everybody's fine. Do you agree with the double dipping in cornerbacks in the free agency market? And do either of those names entice you? Especially because James Bradberry said after the Super Bowl, or the day after the Super Bowl during locker cleanout day, that he's not looking for a cheap deal this offseason.
Yeah. No. None of these. Yeah. With that information now, like, no. I think if you could have gotten Bradberry for, like we talked about, Cam Sutton maybe getting what, 20, so like 7 million a year.
Yeah, about 7.5.
I don't know if you can pay 2 corners that much, just
No.
given what their cap situation is. And then Marcus Peters, he's got some injury. He's got some injury history, right? And I don't want a repeat of last year where half the secondary felt like half the secondary was hurt week in and week out. But they were very rarely a full, like a whole unit. I would rather just build through the draft, resign Cam Sutton. I think you've got some pieces there. They're not that desperate for help back there.
No,
I'm not very interested in either of those guys, I think.
No, so James Bradbury's market value is wild, actually. According to Spotrac, it's 3 years, $45.5 million, which is $15 million a year.
Whoa,
for a corner.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
like he had a good year, but I don't.
He had a good year and he's about to turn 30. Like, what? By the time his contract's over, he's retiring for $15 million a year. Let's see what Marcus Peters is. We're loading there.
Like, I bet you're cutting him by the end of that deal. Like, I don't know.
That's
how I see that playing out. Like, you're
definitely, you got 1 year with that guy. 1 year before you're a 31-year-old corner. A 31-year-old corner is old. Like, you are on the verge of you're playing slot at this point, and it's only because you can't keep up with guys on the outside. Like, that's bad. Marcus Peters, who is 30 years old, so that's even worse. 2 years, $19.7 million, which is just under $10 million a year.
No thanks.
No thanks, right? Like, that's Levi Wallace is getting paid $3 million this year. Works for me. Like, sounds good. Like, he played just fine. The Steelers led the NFL in interceptions last season. They didn't have a problem when it came to turning the ball over. I think you go find somebody in the draft that's 23 years old and you get a solid 7 years out of them and you pay them $9 million over the course of their first. I mean, Kenny Pickett's contract, he was the 20th pick in the draft, right? 24th?
21st, I think.
21st? I don't remember. His contract is 4 years, 14-point-some million dollars. That's for a quarterback, So if you got the 17th pick in the draft, you can imagine maybe that's a little bit higher. Maybe it's $16 million. So 4 years, $16 million is way better than 3 years, $45 million for a guy that you're going to have one quality year off of. And then you have to redo it all over again. Then you got to go figure it out one more time. That does not make sense to me.
And it's not like you don't have it's not like this is a draft that is starved for cornerback talent. There's tons there. Tons.
Yes. You could, and you've seen that. Like, the NFL has seen guys come in and just make immediate impacts in the NFL. I mean, look at the Super Bowl. The Saints are the Chiefs, started 2 rookies. One of them's like a 6th round rookie at cornerback, and they held up just fine against one of the best wide receiver cores in football. Who else did? The Cincinnati Bengals started Cam Taylor-Britt throughout the playoffs. He played just fine. I mean, there's
Sauce Gardner is a special talent.
Sauce Gardner is ridiculous. You have like other names like Seattle's guy, Tariq Woolen, who isn't even a first-round pick. He was like a mid-round guy. Kobe Bryant showed up at some points and played a little nickel, played a little safety. I mean, you got the rookie corners are not what I don't even know if they ever once were like a question mark. Like, rookie corners have always been looked at as like guys that come in here and make immediate differences to a team. And if they they're looked at as busts.
Yeah, the Patriots had 2 guys, like Marcus Jones and
Marcus Jones, a great example. Yeah. That dude's their best wide receiver and their best cornerback.
Yeah, he's their best offensive player too.
Yeah. So you could find these guys. The craziest part about Marcus Jones is he was the first player the Steelers brought in for a private workout during the offseason, and they liked him. They really liked Marcus Jones. He's a little guy, little next Marcus or Mike Hilton. What could have been, what could have been. Instead, he's in Bill Belichick's offense, or defense/offense, which is the perfect place for him. Because if you're going to score touchdowns on both sides of the ball, you go to New England. That's where you're going to thrive. But yeah, to find a cornerback in the draft and have expectations that they are an immediate impact player is very realistic. And I think it's more realistic than going out and getting a 30-year-old corner and saying, hey, look, just keep it up for 3 more years. Give us some hope. Doesn't make any sense. So bad moves for the Steelers all around. Weird part in the offseason where everybody's just going to start, throwing stuff against the wall. Yeah, and seeing what sticks. And we're 0 for 2 today, but that's okay. We're getting there. All right, we're heading out of here with that. Thank you guys so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. Make sure to find us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk, and subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. I'll be back on Friday with Derek. Enjoy your week.